Welcome back to the Investor Professor podcast. This is Dr. Ryan Peckham, and this is episode 179. On today's episode, we close out the year. Cameron and I discuss some of our goals for 2025. We look ahead towards 2026. We talk about goal strategies, why it's important to be reflective, thinking about the past year, but also looking towards the future. We also go into detail and discuss our Spotify Wrapped with all the statistics they give us. Do they mean something? Do they not? I don't know. So as always, get your mind right and let's get to work.
You dropped this.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. Last episode of 2025.
Crazy.
Welcome back, Cameron.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a crazy it's moved quickly.
It always seems that way, right? So we'll see. I mean, we're going to talk more about like personal goals, things like that, wrap the year up. But I mean, the NASDAQ, it looks like we're going to have 20%. We'll see how the next 2 days. So this is Monday, December 29th, for context. And so we have the NASDAQ up 20%, S&P up 17%, and the Dow Jones up 14%.
I think that's a good performance, right?
It's pretty good. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to complain when you look at, we always move ahead, or I guess everybody looks ahead. I feel like, there's not enough time spent just because the way time works, like to be reflective. But if you think about all the worries that we had throughout the year of what we were nervous about market-wise all year long, I think people would be pretty happy with this based on where we were in like March and April and stuff.
April, yeah, especially.
For sure. So I don't know. I feel like we don't, we've weathered a lot of stuff over the past couple of years from COVID. We used to talk about like, can the market have a soft landing with inflation and interest rates and things like that without completely crashing the economy? I thought we did a good job on that, but we just we're always looking towards the next thing. So I hope that people will take a little bit of time, reflect on their year, and just think about, some of the goals that they hit or goals that they're going to set for themselves in the upcoming year. And so we'll see. We'll see kind of how that goes. Goals, not resolutions.
Goals, yeah. You got to chase them.
So only 3% of people set written goals for themselves. So the last time we talked, I told you I was going to pull up all the Spotify Wrapped stuff.
Okay.
Because you're young, and I figured you could help me decipher this because I never know if it's really good or not.
I want to hear it.
So I'm going to give you some of our Spotify Wrapped, statistics. All right. So it says that we had a 72% increase in listeners and a 34% increase in followers. The Guy Spear episode was the most listened to episode.
That is, yeah. Don't take that personally.
Yeah. Well, you don't take it personally because it was an increase of 300% is how much more listened to.
300?
Yeah, 300%.
Oh my gosh. What was it? Do you know the total listeners on that one?
Actually, I don't know the total listens, the total downloads on that, but 300% more is, I think, it's just a huge number of, he brings such an international, being based in Zurich and all that, like a much more international.
His following.
Followers. And that makes sense because the podcast was streamed in 26 different countries. And this is I'm giving you the order of the countries, right? So number 1 is the US. Number 2 is the UK. Number 3 was the Netherlands. And then number 4 was Australia.
That's why. Do you have students out there?
I know of one student that was in Australia, but I don't think that, I don't know about the others though.
You paid the student, hey, make sure you go and listen to this spot.
Every day, just every day, just download.
It's okay.
New different phones. Yeah, all those things. You got to do different phones. And then we're in the top 25% of videos on Spotify. And then the top, or like in 100 people's top 10, 60 of their top 5, and like for 20 something people we're their number 1 podcast.
Number one.
That's
pretty impressive.
So
20 people.
Yeah, or 23, I think. So if you subtract me and you, it's like 21.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. And then we had like these little awards that I don't know if this stuff means anything. I have no idea. But it says like 2025 Rising Star, So we outperform 76% of other podcasts.
Okay.
The one that I think is the most, the one I think is the best one is it says 2025 Marathon, which says that we were listened to 86% longer than other podcasts.
That's impressive.
So people, when they listen, I guess they listen to the full thing, or they wait a couple minutes at least before giving up.
I think that says that we kind of do the, what is it, 30, 35 minutes, 40 minutes? That's kind of the, I feel like that's a good medium, because there's certain podcasts where it's like 2 hours and it's like, okay, we're speeding you up.
It's too long. Like there's too many of these podcasts. I think that, Joe Rogan does the really long format podcast, and everybody said, oh, I can do that. But I mean, how many 2.5 hour blocks of time do you get?
Yeah, it's insane.
You shouldn't have that many, honestly. So
that's impressive.
But anyway, so that's our Spotify Wrapped, and Listen Notes still has us in the top 5% of podcasts worldwide. But there's a lot of failure rates, with podcasts.
Because of why?
Because they stop doing it. Yeah, it's the consistency, right?
This is, what episode is this? Which one?
179.
179. Let's talk about consistency for a second. I remember when you first brought this up, and now you're talking about how there's 20 people that listen to you, right?
Yeah.
On a regular basis, where it's a number one podcast. That's
right.
20 people, 21 people. Like, that is crazy.
It's probably like former students who can't sleep unless they hear my voice.
Oh, that's what it is?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it is the consistency, but it is also like, it's the student, it's the same as investing, right? I preach, the consistency in investing and consisting in the pot. Like if you're going to do anything, you got to be consistent if you want any kind of shot at having success.
This does not prove your ability to be consistent. I don't know what does. It's almost like, because I see your consistency every day. I hope people see this. Think 100. I don't even know what number you said. I already forgot.
179.
179 like podcasts every week, consistent. I mean, there's some weeks, Christmas, holidays, Hanukkah, all that stuff. I get it. But golly, like,
yeah,
that's a lot.
This year will be 5 years. I think.
That's insane.
It'll be 5 years since we started, where it was literally me and a computer staring at a wall.
Yeah.
And now we have like a studio and all these things. So
you should put the original logo at some point in the video or whatever.
I need to redo the picture. I mean, there's some things I need to redo. Yeah. I mean, like, it is pretty, but it shows you like a couple things with that. I mean, a couple lessons there is the time's going to pass anyways. So you might as well be doing something with your time.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think about that with big goals, like you going to graduate school or whatever, me doing my, going back to school or whatever. Like the time's going to pass anyways.
Yeah.
So you might as well spend it doing something productive. And at least, it's not these huge, we overestimate what we can do in a year and we underestimate what we can do over 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's just that, like, I'm going to have these little consistent habits, and I'm going to try to build upon them over the years.
I agree. Yeah, so you've built them.
So I was looking back, my 2025, this is not stock market related, but personal related. So I tracked all the miles I ran this year. That was 650 miles.
Gosh.
Is how many miles I ran in 2025.
That is insane.
So that's about an average of, it's a little over 50 miles a month. Which is pretty good, but we'll come back to that. Converting the office building, building the podcast studio was a goal of mine. Reading books. I read 22 books this past year, listened and read. My Audible subscription, I just crossed over 300 books, which I think is kind of wild. Like just looking at the number of books that, I listened to and things like that. The top books that I've read this year, one of them was called Winds of War, which is it's not a finance book, but it was a really good book. Atlas Shrugged was another one. Top finance book is I'm almost done with it, is 1929, which I'll probably do a whole episode on that. It's just terrifying. I'm at the point, like, it's not a good, for me, it's just too close to home, but I'm at the point of the book 1929, which is about the Great Depression, the stock market collapse of 1929. I'm at the point where like people are throwing themselves out of windows and stuff.
This is Sorkin's new book, right?
Yeah, Sorkin. But there's a character in there that you and I are going to spend some time on. I'm gonna force you to go research this guy. It's a guy named Jesse Livermore. And Jesse Livermore is one of the most famous short sellers ever. And it's this weird dichotomy. So in 1929, he was shorting the market when everything went bad.
Huh.
He made $100 million.
I think he was one of the. That's yeah. So
He
he's
made
like one of the first short sellers ever.
But he made $100 million. This is 1929.
Yeah.
You know when $100 million meant something. Cameron.
Yeah. Now short sellers are making way more.
Yeah. So, but $100 million. But the reverse part of that is he made $100 million off of everybody else's misery, and you can't imagine the pressure of the people coming up to him after he made like that was it's interesting. So, but he wrote a book. There's some books being read about here. So that's kind of how I do. Like I read this and then I've kind of find this offshoot. So there's 2 books about that. He wrote one and then there's another one. I won't tell you how the end of that story we'll keep that going for later. So those are some of the top books I read this year. And so then I was looking at 2026 and, you know, like it's interesting. Like I've gotten in this period where it's kind of the same. Like I want to save more money. I want to, you know, exercise. I want to, you know, all the things that everybody says. But one of my big things as far as exercise this year is concerned is to just like exercise with purpose. I feel like I kind of got in a rut this year where like I did run the 650 miles and all that, but I would say that it was like, it wasn't intentional. If that makes sense. You weren't enjoying it? No, it's not that I wasn't enjoying it. I was just on autopilot.
Okay.
Like I was just on autopilot, I guess.
There needs to be some of that though, right? I mean, if you're trying to be consistent, there's going to be periods of that autopilot.
There is. I mean, there's periods of time where I go through like a year where I'm just busier than other times where it's just like, man, I just trying to get this in because I'm so busy with other things. But it's still like, I would still want it to be a little bit more intentional.
Yeah. But I hear that. Maybe this year has taught me on the flip side of that, you end up being more productive when your plate's full.
Yeah, so for sure.
There's that. Everyone's got that where it's like, oh, I got, 30 minutes or whatever it is before I got to be on this call or whatever it may be. And it's like, I could go run 3 miles, 3.5 miles, whatever. But no, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, when that time comes, just try to fit it in, just go, because there's never going to be the perfect time.
Yeah. That's the way. That's so many things.
I don't know. I think to your point, like there is probably maybe, everyone can always say I'd get up a little earlier, but you got to, I know I tell you to give yourself grace and I should give myself some too. This is the pot calling the kettle black, but like, the dad, the teaching, the business, sometimes you just got to run when you can.
Yeah, I know, man, but nobody cares about that. Like nobody, like we're all competing on the same, we're all competing. And I do the same thing. Like I give people grace all the time, but I try not to give myself the same,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that there's still, like, I want to save, invest more money. There's certain things like that I want to do, but I also think about like my daughters are getting older. I only have so many more spring breaks left. I only have so many summers. I think about those things, being cognizant of that, reading different books. I used to, when I was younger, I would try to read as many books as I could a year, and but the problem is I don't want to do that. Like I like setting a goal to read books. I'm always going to do that, but I try not to put a number out there because I don't want to be flying through books just to say that I read so many. So I think that's the other thing too. When you're like a type A goal person is like, again, I say it on the podcast all the time. I say, don't mistake activity for achievement. People think I'm saying that to them. I'm also saying it to myself.
That's good.
Right. You know what I mean? Like reminding myself that like, it's okay to read a book and just enjoy it and not have to feel like you're, so a little bit of that is, and so I'll usually do finance book and I'll do something else that's not finance based. But again, just, I want that mental activity. And I enjoy it, but also like I want to make sure that I'm like whatever I'm reading, like I'm really taking the time to read it. So like this year, like I read Jeremy Siegel's Stocks for the Long Run.
Yeah, man,
I love that. But I've forced myself to read that thing like basically a chapter at a time, and not to rush it. Like not rush the reading of that book because there's so many good things in there. I mean, so many good things in there.
Yeah.
And that's gonna come back to one of my other goals, which is going to be, people who I feel like have mentored me that I've never met, kind of like the Guy Spear thing, reaching out to him, doing that. Like I have a list of people that I want to try to go interview or try to meet them or try to thank them in some way. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to try to be much more proactive with that in 2026. Jeremy Siegel is one of those people.
Yeah. Be cool.
It'd be awesome. Like to be able to meet him,
to have him on the podcast too.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I also just want to like see if I can And I think I have enough connections now that I could do it.
I think you can.
We'll see.
I think you'd be surprised. This is definitely the sales guy approach, but I think you'd be surprised if you just cold outreach, just like send an email, or at least be persistent in that, right?
Yeah.
Like reach out to them. I guess, it's always best if you know somebody that can introduce you, right? Because it's a warm connection.
Yeah.
But sometimes like,
I just think, it's a weird thing with like Buffett retiring, and you realize like these people that have helped you, they're not going to be around forever.
no,
Like you start seeing like, people that you really looked up to, and all of a sudden they're hanging it up. And it's like, man, like you think you always, that is the,
your heroes don't grow, but they do.
yeah, it's just, well, it's the myth that we tell ourselves. Like we always tell ourselves, we'll have time. I'll have time to invest. I'll have time
That's
to
right, yeah.
exercise. I'll
The
have time to
perfect
do
time.
this. Yeah. I mean, it's never going to line up the way you think you are, the way you think it is. And so then it's just surrounding yourself with good people. I mean, I think one of the things, like for me, like I have been very, very blessed to be surrounded by very good people, especially in my client base. Like the clients that I have
Yeah.
been so good. But like I was telling you about, one of my clients, I'll call him, Mr. Jones, who turned 70. And he's like, and I was like, hey, what are you doing for your 70th birthday? And he's like, I'm going to try to run a mile under 7 minutes. And he's on his 70th birthday.
Wow.
And he did it in 6:56.
That's great.
And
awesome.
but these are people like, you surround yourself with other people that are setting goals, and like that's
That
your
is
circle.
Awesome.
And now he's looking around and he's going, he's looking at these 5Ks, and he's ran marathon. He ran Boston when he was younger. He's been a goal oriented person his whole life. But it's just so motivating to talk to people like that. And he goes, man, I started looking around at these, these races in my town, and I don't know, man, my age group, man, I think, and I was like, hey, the thing is, you live long enough. There's nobody in your age group.
Yeah, it's easy. Say you got like 6 people running.
There's nobody in your age group anymore. It's easy to start collecting those wins,
There is something to be said too. Like, I think, I forget who said it, but it's the temperature you set for yourself. And like, the reference is like, I don't know. There was some science experiment with like, there was a science experiment that basically said that like the temperature you set for yourself, you grow with it, right? So like if you set, that I'm gonna go tread water for like 6 minutes and you're struggling to get through all 6, right? Well, you do that so many times, eventually the 7, the 8, the 9, the 10, it's gonna get easier and easier.
Yeah.
And there's just something to be said about setting your temperature so high. So I think to what you're saying, everyone around you setting their temperature to a super high level. And then, you see that, and then you see like somebody like Truett Haynes who runs a marathon in 2 hours and 26 minutes in jeans. And then a temperature, what? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
I know. And so you have to I think the most important thing is just always competing against yourself,
Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think you and your generation and younger, growing up with so much social media, it's like comparison. Yeah. The comparison is the thief of joy. And so you really have to compare yourself to, where you were. But that is the key. I mean, we've talked about that a lot on here, is like, that's why we write down goals. That's why I tracked all the miles that I ran. I mean, that's why I'm, tracking all this stuff, because at the end of the year, you think, oh, I'll remember. Man, you're not going to remember. Like, so you have to have a little bit of purpose. So I always think about like, all right, how much money do I want to save? What are the big things that I want to do? And then coming up with something that's a little uncomfortable, which is, I think, especially when you get to, I'm going to say my age. Yeah. But it's just, trying to find like to where you don't get in like a rut, basically.
Yeah. No, that's
which
true.
is, you just feel like you're on the treadmill of life.
I think that's why Buffett and Munger were just so intellectual until like the last, until Munger's last days, right? It's because they never left the business.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about like putting yourself in that position where it's like you're still growing and you're not pulling yourself out.
Well, that and doing something where you feel like you have a purpose, and the purpose is greater than you, and that you have a why and you have a reason for doing it. I think at least like, I'm very fortunate too that I get to do something that I really truly enjoy, and then I get to do it with people that I like. I mean, that is so even though the day-to-day of the stock market can kind of weigh on me sometimes, or anybody for that matter, I mean, at least I'm at the end of the day, I'm working with people that I really care about, my students I care about. I'm definitely in a much different position than most people.
Mm-hmm.
So what's 2026 looking like for you? What are some of your, you have like school obviously is going to be one of your big ones.
Yeah. I want to find, so I'm in my MBA right now. I'm one quarter in. I'm anticipating a May 2027 graduation. So I'm thinking about 2026. What does that mean for schooling? There's two things that I really like want to prioritize, and I don't know how I'm going to word it yet. I'm still working on my goals.
Yeah.
One is like, you got to find, I think I found it when I was in undergrad, but you kind of just find your lane. You find like a club, or you find some interest, some shared interest, whether it's through a club or something, or some professors you get tight with, whatever it is. And then you just like that, I guess, purpose outside of the classroom is met. I want to find that. So, you know, I took a position with their entrepreneurship program at Northwestern. There's like that. I'm kind of circling through. I'm seeing if that's where I want that to be, but I want to find that sometime this year, because I think I'll be bummed if I don't. And I found it in undergrad, and it's not, you know, I feel like I'd be lucky if I find it, right? It's just one of those things where you just find the right group or find the right club, whatever it is. And then the other thing is that I'm finding that this MBA thing, it's a lot of in the classroom than outside the classroom. Like, you know, I got class 8 to 6 on Saturday, right? So it's like, what sounds great after that? Like maybe going to dinner and then going to bed early. Well, you know, getting dinner with classmates, getting dinner with professors, making plans with alumni, whatever it is. Like that's where it's like the last mile of the race, where it's like, you got to make sure you're hitting that last mile. I want to continue doing that. Like I want that to be a priority, not so much the grades, which is crazy because I was all about the grades in undergrad, and maybe that's a TCU thing, but this, you know, the grades will work itself out. I think this first quarter was a good temperature check.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that I'm not just all investing in the class. I want to be outside too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, I mean, the goals should change. I mean, obviously grades are important, but I don't think that the most imperative thing, especially when you're doing your graduate studies, because you're managing your life, you're managing jobs, you're managing so many different things that, like, I mean, it's really like, I think that the students who do that really kind of set them. I mean, I think they miss a lot of the outside stuff that later on they would regret. It's like the grades aren't going to fulfill them, like the relationships they built or the opportunities that they went after. Those are the things that will sustain them and will make their, you know, their schooling experience, you know, much more valuable later on.
Definitely. Yeah. And there's so much to be had too. Like there's an AI club, and I just recently joined.
Yeah.
My gosh. Like I thought we were scratching the surface. We're nowhere close. Like some of these people, they're ambassadors for Anthropic, which means they're part of only ambassador trainings with Anthropic that they host. And then they're like an evangelizer within Northwestern. It's like, this is crazy, the stuff you're working on.
We will definitely do an episode based on that, because I do think that like the general population doesn't realize how entrenched AI already is in so many things.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely do that. I think, you know, for people that are listening to this and you're thinking about your year, you know, spend some time reflecting, thinking about what went well this past year. What are some things that you wish you could improve upon, and really just take some time to actually just, I think that we don't do a good job of just sitting around and just thinking about it. Like just sit around and think about like, what are the things that I'm excited for? You know, what are some things areas I wish I could improve upon? And then looking at the different areas of your life in which you feel like you could do that in.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So, it's tough, right? It's like, it's in the busy world, right? It's like, okay, when I'm not working and then I got Christmas break, I'm with family, I'm doing this, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it is tough to take some time and you may not get it. Like I don't know how many hours I've thought about these goals, but like even an hour may not do it. You got to sit there and really think about it and be intentional and not just fill up a page to fill up a page.
Yeah.
Which I've done.
Yeah. But you did do a good job. Like you said, like be intentional about it. Like actually being, you know, this is something, I mean, you design your life. So you have to be the one who like enjoys what you're coming up with. So make sure that it's coming from a place that you want to be, not where maybe somebody expects you to be as well. And so I think if you're true to that and actually spend some time doing that, I don't know. I've been pretty annoyed lately with social media because of the time of year. So all the advertisements that you get are all about resolutions and all these things. It just wears me out.
Personal trainers. Hey, you know, new year, new you.
Yeah, but see, we're in two different age brackets.
Okay.
So I get all the 45
Hey,
year
this
old.
new wheelchair is coming
Yeah,
out.
yeah. It's like all your cortisol levels too high. Like like you're not hitting your.
It's all about longevity.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the other thing that's annoying too is you hit these different. You go into a different demographic and they're like, oh, change the ads here. We need cortisol level, hair replacement. Like
Hair replacement. Hey.
They lost me a long time ago.
I was
brother.
about to say, I don't
They lost
want
me
to
a
bum
long
you out.
They don't know that though, but they lost me a long time ago on that
that's
one.
funny. Do you ever have you looked at like your really old, like 5 years ago goals, like old goals that you've
Oh
had?
yeah.
What are your thoughts when you see them? Because this is something I did recently.
It's pretty wild because I had I found a sheet of paper from years ago where I had my 1 year goals, my 3 year goals, and my 10-year goals.
Okay.
So I was able to see basically goals I had made for myself like for 10 years out. It was pretty wild.
How old were you when you did it?
I was probably 30,
Okay.
28, 29, 30.
And what is that? When you looked at it, was it like, what was the first thought? Like, oh, this guy was over ambitious, or was it, oh no, this is,
No, I was over ambitious on the early stuff and I was
Yeah.
under ambitious on the later stuff.
Okay.
My 10-year goals were actually under ambitious.
huh?
But I didn't look at it with those kind of eyes. I looked at it as like I'm always trying to think about, will the older version of me be happy that I did this?
Yeah.
And like the older version, like even though I didn't hit everything or maybe some priorities in my life changed, I was very thankful that I actually took the time to do that at that age. So
Yeah.
why would you say you want to be president next year?
Well, you gave me a lot of hope there. You don't realize it, but the short term, but the long term was good.
Yeah.
I did the same thing my senior year of college. And I think it's probably because we talked about it. I don't know.
Well, we
That'd be the only
recorded an
reason.
episode, remember?
Yeah, I think, but I was already graduated. Those
Yeah.
goals, we're not going to talk about those goals. Those goals.
We can go back to the tape.
Yeah, no, we ain't going back to the tape. I see those goals and I'm like, I don't know if I'd say posture on life or something, but that guy was a little different. I feel like I've matured a little bit in a lot of ways. So, but I did the goals by like 25, 30, 35,
Right,
40.
right,
That
yeah.
was how I did it.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah.
I like the statement you had about, the later goals were good. The earlier goals, you didn't hit them. So that gives me hope because some of them were ambitious.
I will say, like, I mean, we've talked about like business goals that I had, like how long it took me to get to 10 million under management. It's weird when you set goals, like you'll go through a period of time where, let's say 1 year you struggle, 2 years you struggle, maybe even 3 years. And then year 4, it's like you hit like
Heck
3
yeah.
years worth of goals at once.
You're making deposits into the bank.
Exactly. So it's not, I think that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, like because the way the calendar hits and we talk about New Year's and we talk about all these things, like I got to get this done. But it's really about the consistency of your behaviors and your habits will eventually, like as you say, you're planting the seeds or whatever, they will stack into, they'll stack on top of each other. And then at some point you'll have this big, huge, move.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that I truly believe that happens. I mean, that definitely happened for me.
It happened. It's happening for me, I think, to a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope I see more of it, but yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I think and that's the hard part is when you're in that period of time where you are, planting, doing all those things and you haven't seen the results yet.
Stay consistent.
It's the blind faith that you have to keep doing it, or you have to have people around you or, somebody. And that's why I talked about earlier, like all those mentors where, it's like I posted one on Investor Professor today, but it was the Jim Rohn where he said, I remember hearing that when I was about 24 years old, where he said, set a goal to become a millionaire, not for the financial reasons, but for what it'll take of you to achieve it, who you have to become to make that happen.
The process.
Right. And so, and he said, and then at the end, he said, you could give that money away and you could still, you could redo it, and that to me, like when I was 24, 25 was, man, it was worth it. I mean, it was everything to me.
Yeah.
Like being able to hear that.
I'd probably, now that you say that, most of my goals, I actually enjoyed the process more than the actual completing the goal.
Yeah, that's the key. Because the thing about the outcome is the outcome normally,
It's good, but it's not like,
it's not what you think it's going to be.
No.
It's not what you think it's going to be. It's the process of how you got there that you'll remember more than anything.
Yeah. The
It's
race.
Yeah, it's like you graduating from school or whatever, or even the London Marathon. It isn't about that. It's not crossing the finish line. It's all the work. Like you remember the training runs, you remember those, you remember the classes, you remember the people. You don't necessarily remember the end result. Like, and that's kind of the trick. So that's the whole thing about like doing something you actually like and something that you're passionate about. Because if you don't, and that's the problem is some of us we trick ourselves into thinking like, I'm gonna weather this right now. I'm gonna do this so that I can do something else later. But something else later is never guaranteed.
No, never. Yeah, you got to be in the game.
So that's it.
I'll just the one thing I was gonna throw in there is, do you know that quote, "The man in the arena," or that? I guess it's a quote.
Okay.
But the man in the arena. Have you heard of this?
I think so, but I don't know what.
Where it's like everybody's watching the man in the arena, telling the man that he can't do this, he can't do that. What is he doing? He's doing whatever, right? But really, the glory is not had in the viewership of the man in the arena, but it's the man that's in the arena that's experiencing the glory, because through the whole process of whatever it has taken to get to be that man in the arena, right? Like putting yourself out there in the game, that's the real glory.
Yeah, I mean,
and I butchered the heck out of that, so go Google it. But something of that effect, which I think is totally true. Like, you just want to be the man and the woman in the arena. That's it.
Yeah, well, you think about how many people like live in comment sections, and so I mean,
or just say like tomorrow I'll do this. Well, yeah, I can't do this because I'm too old or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing is like we're so I mean it's no matter what, it's always going to be a battle of you versus you.
Yeah,
it's you versus you. I mean that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. So all right, well, go make 2026 yours, and we will. I don't know. I guess we'll see you next year. Whatever it can be. So, all right. As always, don't mistake activity for achievement, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. This podcast contains general information that may not be suitable for everyone. The information contained here should not be construed as personalized investment advice. There is no guarantee that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast will come to pass. Investing in the stock market involves gains and losses and may not be suitable for all investors. Information presented here is subject to change without notice and should not be considered as a solicitation to buy or sell any security. Ryder Equities does not offer legal or tax advice. Please consult the appropriate professional regarding your individual circumstance. Past performance is no guarantee of future results.